Good evening, everybody, and we meet once again in our live session on psychology chapters. We have been talking about various aspects of psychology in the last few weekly live sessions, and today we will continue with our series on learning that we have started earlier. But before that, all those who are joining us for the first time today, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Zarin Sethna. I'm a clinical psychologist and an associate professor of psychology for last more than 30 years. I have begun live YouTube sessions on psychology, mainly so that I can reach out to a very, very large number of students. And my whole idea is that to simplify very difficult concepts and topics which students find it slightly difficult to follow. Okay. So, with that brief introduction, let us go back to the session for today. Now, since last week, we have been talking about topics on learning. And those who joined us in the last week will remember we had spoken about learning and conditioning. Particularly, we spoke about classical conditioning, okay, where we spoke about Ivan Pavlov and his famous experiments, his pioneering work, and various concepts associated with classical conditioning. Those who have missed that session, it's there on the YouTube, so you can always go back and refer to it. Today we continue with part 2 of learning, and today we will be talking about operant conditioning, another very important aspect of learning and conditioning. With that, I will start presenting my screen. Yeah, so I hope my screen is visible to all of you. Like I said, today is part 2 of our series on learning, and we are going to talk about principles of operant conditioning, or later on, as you will see, it is also known as instrumental conditioning. You can, on the screen in the corner, you can see that tiny diagram of a mouse, fidgeting with certain things. We will talk about it in detail. If you are already a student of psychology and you have already finished at least 1 year of studying psychology, then you probably have recognized that diagram by now. But those who are new to the field, we will talk about this very, very interesting diagram in a while. But first, we will have to speak once again about our definitions. So, what exactly do we mean by learning and conditioning? Learning is what we have done in great detail in our previous session also, but once again, for the benefit of those who have joined us for the first time today, learning is defined as a relatively permanent change in behavior due to practice or experience. Now, what exactly do we mean by that? It means that when you practice something, okay, any activity, any skill, anything, if you practice a number of times, then, and if that changes your behavior, for example, when a child starts writing, okay, and you keep on writing A, B, C, D in cursive, and your handwriting improves, there is a change in behavior. Okay, you learn to play a guitar and you practice it for months together, and after many, many months, you are now able to play a song. There is a change in behavior. Okay, so you have learned to play guitar. So learning will take place when you practice something for a very long time. Sometimes you don't need practice, just one single experience is enough. You break the red light at a signal and you are severely fined for it. That fine that you pay becomes your learning lesson. Okay, it becomes an experience. Chances are next time you will not break the signal, because you know that you will be punished for it, you will be fined for it. So sometimes you need a lot of practice to learn certain behaviors, but sometimes just 1 or 2 experiences are enough to learn. It is a relatively enduring change, meaning largely research tells us that once we learn something, it remains permanent, more or less permanent, for a very, very long time at least, and there are less chances that we are going to forget it. Even if you think that you have forgotten what you have learned, a little revision will help you to, revise it all over again. So that's what learning is all about. Now, what is conditioning? Conditioning is a part of learning. Okay, learning is a large concept. Learning is an umbrella concept. Okay, conditioning is a small part of that learning. Conditioning can happen mainly with two ways, either through association or through reinforcements. Okay, association is when two activities or two events or two behaviors constantly happen together. Okay, when two things are constantly paired or linked or associated together, you learn one behavior because of another. This is what we call classical conditioning. And in the last week's session, we had a detailed description about learning by association or classical conditioning. Today, we are going to be talking about reinforcement. That is what operant condition is all about. So conditioning is a very specific way in which learning would take place. Now, when we are talking about operant conditioning, we have to talk about two very, very important people. One of them is Edward Lee Thorndike, E.L. Thorndike, Edward Lee Thorndike. Please look at his time period, 1874 to 1949. Now, why is this important? It's important because you have to understand how much of research must have taken place over the years. The concepts we are going to study today are more than a century old. Okay, Thorndike himself belongs to a completely different era. Okay, and the concepts that Thorndike introduced to us are now more than a century old. And if all these theories that he has spoken about are more than a century old, that means so much research has already taken place in this field. And that is why today we know so much about conditioning and learning. Edward Lee Thorndike was an American psychologist, and his most important contribution was law of effect. Again, look at the date, please, and that is exactly the reason why I've specifically mentioned the date over there. 1898. It seems like another world altogether, right? In 21st century, imagine 1898 is a time when this person comes up with a revolutionary idea which completely changes our understanding of behavior, our understanding of human beings, our understanding of learning, our understanding of personality, even our understanding of mental illnesses, our understanding of psychology. All of that was revolutionized when he came up with law of effect. And because law of effect is so important, we will talk about it in great detail a little later. Once again, please pay attention to this cute little diagram that you see over here, a tiny little cat in a simple looking cage. Now, all these diagrams are very important and we will talk about each one of them as we progress. Now, Edward Lee Thorndike is one very, very important person who gave us this law of effect. Based on law of effect, we have operant conditioning given to us by another amazing, amazing scholar, B.F. Skinner or Burrhus Frederick Skinner. Once again, an American psychologist. B.F. Skinner is a man who pioneered what we call as behaviorism. And the photograph that you see over here, he's actually sitting in his laboratory. This is a real photograph of Skinner with his very favorite subject, his pigeon. Skinner and Thorndike both loved working with rats, pigeons. These are the two main animals they worked with, and sometimes occasionally cats. Okay. Skinner is an amazing man. Skinner was a psychologist, but if he, in my opinion, if he had not become a psychologist, he would have been an amazing engineer. Because all these boxes and this equipments and all these cages that you are going to see in all the different slides, they were actually built by them. Thorndike and Skinner both were amazing craftsmen, okay, and they were amazing engineers, and they built their own instruments which they required for their experiments. So like I said, if they had not become psychologists, probably they would have become amazing engineers. Okay. Skinner is a person who pioneered behaviorism. Students of psychology will know what behaviorism is in very, very simple words. Behaviorism is a philosophy of psychology which says that every behavior or almost every behavior is learned behavior. Behaviorism says that when human child is born, human child knows nothing. Okay, We don't know anything. We don't know good, bad, right, wrong, legal, illegal, ethical, illethical. Okay? Nothing. We know nothing. Every behavior is learned. Learn from where? Learn from what the world teaches us. So we learn it from our parents, teachers, school, friends, films, books that you read, poetries that you hear, stories that you listen to, all your experiences. Okay? Everything around you teaches you and you learn from everywhere. Okay? Behaviorism also says that because behavior is learned, it can also be controlled. Okay? It can be, I can decide what I want to teach a human child. Okay? I can decide whether I want to make that child into an amazing, wonderful human being or a hardcore criminal. Okay? I can decide. You control behavior if you feel that all behavior is learned. According to Skinner, psychologists must focus on behavior which is observable and measurable. Okay, so Skinner pioneered what we call as behaviorism. Any behavior which can be seen and which can be measured, that is an important part of human behavior, according to Skinner. And that's what behaviorism is all about. He is also the person who gave us this concept of operant conditioning, and he's also the person who gave us this concept of schedules of reinforcement. Schedules of reinforcement are extremely important, and today they are widely used all over. Okay, they are widely used all over. We will talk about law of effect and schedules of reinforcement in very great detail. Let's move ahead now. Okay. Now, before we talk about, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. So before we talk about, I'm very sorry for this. Yeah. Before we go on to talk about Thorndike's law of effect, there is something that I need to tell you about this word operant. Now, in a lot of textbooks, you will see operant conditioning, but alongside you will also see the word instrumental conditioning. Okay, both are one and the same. Okay, please do not be confused that what is operant, what is instrumental. They are both same. Now, what is the meaning of this word operant or instrumental? Skinner and especially Skinner used the word operant coming from the word operating. To operate is to do something actively. Okay, when you are working on your mobile, when you're scrolling or when you're changing windows on your mobile or your laptop, you are operating that equipment. You are controlling it, you are maneuvering it. Okay, when you're washing clothes in the washing machine and when you're pressing different buttons, start, pause, end, you are operating that machine. Okay, when you're using your mixer grinder, you are adjusting the speed of the mixer. Okay, you are operating. So when we are dealing with things around us, when you're shifting your furniture from one corner to another, you are operating. You are controlling that particular behavior. Okay, operant conditioning is where we can control behavior. Okay, why is the word instrumental used? Operant conditioning is also known as instrumental conditioning because you will see later on that what happens to us or the reaction that we receive is instrumental in learning behavior. You will understand this sentence a little better when we talk about law of effect. Now, what is law of effect? That famous law of effect given to us by Thorndike. Let's follow the definition first and then we'll go into details of explanation. Behavior that is followed by favorable consequences are more likely to be repeated. Okay. Now, it may sound a little complicated because of all these big and fancy words, but it's actually very simple. It means that I do something. Now, whatever I do, whenever I do something, there is always going to be a reaction, right? So there is action and there is reaction. If I smile at someone, chances are that person is going to smile back at me. If I fight with someone, chances are that person is going to fight with me. If I arrange my cupboard and fold all my clothes and keep it, what is the consequence? Now my cupboard looks clean and neat. Okay, so every action will give you a reaction. Law of effect says that when you have favorable consequences, favorable, something nice, something pleasant, something that you like, something that is beautiful, okay, something good, okay, something nice and comfortable and good and pleasant. When there is a favorable consequence, reaction. If there is something good happening from the opposite side, I will repeat that behavior more often. Let's take an example. Suppose I wear a new dress and I receive lots of compliments. Okay, this color suits you, you're looking so beautiful, you're looking wonderful. A lot of compliments are received. What happened? I engaged in a behavior. What is the behavior? I wore a new dress. That is my behavior. What was the reaction? Favorable consequence. Consequence, reaction, result. Favorable, something that is good and nice and pleasant and something that I like and enjoy. What was my favorable consequence over here? All the lovely compliments which I got, all the praise that I got. Okay. Now, because so many people gave me so many beautiful compliments, what is going to happen? The behavior is going to be repeated, which means chances are that I will repeat that dress more often. Every time there is a function in the family, I'll wear that dress. Every time I have to go to some fancy place, I will wear that dress because I know that I look good in it. Okay? Let's take another example. A student secures very good marks in class test and the teacher praises that student and the student gets some reward out of it, extra marks out of it. Okay, and everybody claps in the class for the student. What is that? It's a favorable consequence, right? Student got, what was the behavior? The behavior was working hard in that class test. What was the consequence? Reaction? Getting lovely compliments from teacher, getting good marks, getting good percentage, right? Because the student enjoyed that, what will happen in future? Chances are this student will always keep working hard for all the exams because you want those good scores, right? So the law of effect, the first part of law of effect says that behaviors followed by favorable consequences are more likely to be repeated. That is the first part. Second part of the law of effect says behaviors followed by unfavorable consequences are less likely to be repeated. Just the opposite, just the opposite. When I get something good and nice, I repeat the behavior. But when I get something unpleasant, something that I don't like, I stop the behavior. A child breaks a very important, say a very beautiful crockery in the house and the child is scolded for that. Why are you so careless? I told you not to touch it. Why did you touch it? Scolding is not something anybody enjoys. The child did not like it. It was that criticism or that scolding was not something the child enjoyed. It was unfavorable. Chances are next time the child will not touch anything which is delicate and made of glass, right? You did not work hard for your exams. You got very, very, very less marks and teachers scolded you, parents scolded you. You yourself felt bad about it. That's an unfavorable consequence. You felt ashamed. Oh my God, so bad. I should have done better. Chances are next time you will not be lazy. Chances are you will work more hard for the future test. Okay? So when you are receiving something negative, then you will reduce that behavior. You break the traffic signal and you are fined. Now you will not break the traffic signal, right? You wear a new dress and you receive criticism. Oh, that makes you fat. Or it doesn't suit you. Chances are you will not repeat that dress. Okay? So law of effect says that when the reaction is positive, you are more likely to repeat the behavior. But when the reaction of the people is negative, you will not repeat that behavior. You will reduce that behavior. Okay? Law of effect talks about two very important concepts, reinforcement and punishment. What is reinforcement? Reinforcement is anything which will increase behavior. And punishment is anything which will reduce or decrease that behavior. Okay, so this is for you to remember from examination point of view. While studying for exams, if you get confused between the two, remember this. Reinforcement, it will increase the chances of behavior. Punishment will reduce the chances of behavior. Okay, so in very simple words, this is law of effect. Now, because reinforcement and punishment are two important aspects of operant conditioning, we will have to talk about that in great detail. There are two slides I have kept for reinforcement. This is slide number 1. Okay. So what is reinforcement? Please look down again. I've written so that you remember it. Okay. Anything that strengthens the behavior, anything that makes your behavior strong. Okay. Now, reinforcements can be of two types. They can be primary or they can be secondary. What are primary reinforcers? Primary reinforcers is anything which you can directly use. Look at the example I've given you. Food, apple, house. I can directly live in the house. I can directly eat food. Okay. Anything which can be directly used. Anything which can fulfill my biological needs. Food, water. If I'm feeling cold and I get a blanket, that's a primary reinforcement. If I'm feeling very hot and I get fan or AC, that's a primary reinforcement. Okay. If I'm locked up in a tiny room, but I get freedom, that's primary reinforcement. Okay. So anything which can be directly made use of is a primary reinforcer. Usually, all your biological needs are can be fulfilled through primary reinforcement. Okay. Secondary reinforcers. Secondary reinforcement is something which will indirectly fulfill your need. Okay. Look at the examples I've given down there. A reward, a cup, okay, a shield. I've shown you an example of a credit card, money basically. Okay. Now, money or cash or gold, okay, is not something I can consume directly. I cannot eat it, I cannot drink it, I cannot cover myself when I'm feeling cold. Okay. But money can help me to buy a lot of things. With the help of money, I can buy food, I can buy blanket, I can buy AC, I can buy a bottle of water. So, secondary reinforcers fulfill my secondary needs. Okay. Look at that cup and that shield. That cup and that shield basically is useless. It will just remain on my table. Okay. For the rest of the life. It will just remain in my showcase. What am I going to do with it? But it will make me feel proud. It will make my family proud. Okay. It will give me motivation and encouragement to do better. It will remind me that, look, last time you worked hard, you got a shield. So keep working hard. It is fulfilling my psychological needs. Okay. So secondary reinforcement is all of that which will fulfill your psychological needs. When you give encouragement to people, when you praise them, when you give bonus coupons, when you give discounts, okay, when you give extra points, all this becomes secondary reinforcement. Okay, it fulfills your psychological needs. So primary reinforcement or primary rewards, something that can be directly used. Secondary rewards, something that can be indirectly used. Okay, so two types of reinforcement. Reinforcement can also be positive or negative. Now, this is where most students get confused. Okay, what is positive reinforcement and what is negative reinforcement? Students get very confused. This slide will help you to, simplify things for you. Now, positive plus sign, negative minus sign. What do you mean by plus? You are adding something. What do you mean by minus? You are removing something. Okay, so remember this and it will become easier to remember from examination point of view. Positive is always plus, you are adding. Negative is always minus, you are subtracting, removing. Okay, now let's see what is written. Positive reinforcement is adding something pleasant. You are giving something nice, something wonderful, something pleasant. And that is why the behavior is going to be strengthened. So I've given you examples. Praising somebody, appreciating somebody. Sometimes not even words, just touching somebody. I understand what you're going through. Just putting your hand on someone's shoulder. Sometimes even a nod, the other person is talking to you and you just look at that person and, I understand. Just that head movement becomes a positive reinforcement because it encourages the speaker. Oh, that person is listening to me. Okay. Bonus coupons, chocolates, small tiny gifts, flowers, greeting cards. Okay. In today's world, somebody sends you a message and you like that message or you share that message. That is a positive reinforcement. Okay. You are giving something. You are adding something. So positive reinforcement is where any behavior is added so that the behavior is repeated or strengthened. You add something, you give something. Okay. What is negative reinforcement? Negative, you take away. What are you taking away? You are removing something which is unpleasant. Okay. Something is troubling me, something is suffocating me. You remove it and now I feel good. Okay. So for example, I'm wearing a chain and it is very tight. Okay. It is suffocating me. Okay. It is making me very uncomfortable. So I ask somebody, please remove it. And that person removes my chain. Now I can breathe easily. That chain was a negative reinforcement. Remove it, it's gone. Something unpleasant was removed. Okay. You stop criticizing a child. If you're constantly criticizing the person, stop it for some time. You remove discomfort. Like I said, that chain was discomfort, remove it. Okay. When you remove something which is unpleasant, that becomes negative reinforcement. It is still reinforcement. It is still strengthening the behavior. Okay. Suppose I'm feeling very hot just now. All right. What I have to do? I just have to open the window. I just have to start the AC. I just have to increase the fan speed. That's all. Okay. I'm removing discomfort from my environment. And now it is making me feel good. So this is strengthening. I'm learning. I've learned that next time I feel hot, this is what I'm supposed to do. Okay. So when you remove something unpleasant from the environment, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel nice. That is negative reinforcement. Okay. I hope you have understood this slide. So we have primary and secondary reinforcement. We also have positive and negative reinforcement. Now let's talk about punishment. Everybody knows what punishment is, but again, we'll have to talk a little more in detail about punishment. Just like reinforcement, punishment can also be positive or negative. Now, what is punishment? Punishment is anything that weakens the behavior. So when you punish someone, the behavior diminishes, the behavior decreases, and the behavior later on will completely stop. Like I earlier gave you the example of being fined by breaking the traffic light. You drive away on red signal, you are going to be fined for it. That is a punishment. Okay. Now punishment also can be positive or negative. Once again, same. Positive, you are giving something. Negative, you are taking away something. But over here, be careful. When we were talking about reinforcement, what were we doing? We were adding something good or taking away something that was not so good. With punishment, what are we doing? You are adding something unpleasant. Remember, you're punishing that person. You're not rewarding. So you're adding something unpleasant. You're giving that person something that the person doesn't want. Like fine. Like I said, now when you break laws, you're fined for it. Or scolding. Teachers and parents and elders scold you for misbehaving. Or you get extra work. Extra punishment because you did not complete your work. Okay. So when you're adding something which is uncomfortable, that is positive punishment because you're adding. There is nothing good about it. Please don't be confused by this word positive. If I say positive, it has to be nice. No. We are talking about positive punishment. It is still punishment. Please don't forget. It is still punishment. You are adding something. That is why we are using the word positive. Don't be confused. Okay. Negative punishment is removing something which the person enjoys. Okay. You are removing something that you are enjoying. So reducing TV time. You did not study hard, you got very less marks. So from tomorrow, your TV time has been reduced. Now you will watch TV only for half an hour. Rest of the time you are going to study. I'm removing something that you enjoy. You will not get pocket money for the next 4 months. I'm removing something that you enjoy. You will not get ice cream in the after dinner today because you were naughty and you misbehaved. I'm removing something that you enjoy. Okay. So when you're adding something unpleasant, that is positive punishment. When you're removing something that is something that you enjoy, it is negative punishment. Okay. So reinforcement can be positive or negative. Punishment can also be positive or negative. To help you to understand this whole thing clearly, I've specially inserted this slide for you. You can, take a screenshot of this slide and keep it with you for ready reckoner for revision, last minute revision during your examination. This slide, this entire video will remain on your YouTube. So this slide will help you to revise again and again. Okay. Now, just helping you to understand all these 4 boxes. We are talking about reinforcement and punishment. We are talking about positive and negative. Okay. And all the squares are having different colors so that it helps you to understand the difference between all of them. So look at the green color box. Green color box is positive reinforcement. Remember, positive, adding, giving something good. The explanation is written over there. The blue color box is negative reinforcement. Negative, taking away something that you enjoy. Okay. Punishment. The red color box, positive punishment, adding something that you don't like. I'm going to give you electric shock because that is painful. Negative punishment, orange color box. Removing something that you absolutely enjoy. Not allowing you to eat chocolate. You enjoy chocolate, but I'm not going to allow you to eat it. That's your punishment. Okay. Now this box will help you for your last minute revision for examination. This box will also make sure that you will not be confused between all of them. Because when you just read it once in your textbook, everything is absolutely confusing and, colliding with each other. But this will help you to clarify your doubts. So you can come back to this video again and again and again, see it a few times, and that will help you to absolutely clear the concepts. Okay. Now let's move on to the basic principles in absolute simple words. Principles of operant or instrumental conditioning. Like I told you, operant, instrumental mean the same thing. Okay. Learning depends on the reaction received on the behavior. In very, very simple words, this is the principle. Learning, I will learn new behavior depending on the kind of reaction I'm going to receive. If my behavior is rewarded, I will increase that behavior. If my behavior is punished, I will reduce that behavior. Okay? Look at the photographs over there. So, I get a cupcake, that's a reward. I will improve my behavior, increase and repeat my behavior. If I'm scolded and pointed out, that's criticism. That's not something I enjoy. And therefore, the behavior decreases. Okay? In very, very simple words. Let's see how these rewards and punishment works. And these are some of the boxes, model. These are the model. These are the kind of boxes created by Skinner and Thorndike and then later on others. Now look at the first box. Single box, reward increases behavior. Now I'll explain this box. We call it as a Skinner's box because Skinner was the person who created these kind of boxes. Okay. So you had this very simple box and a rat was placed inside the box. Now as you can see, the rat's foot is on that switch or a lever. You call it a lever. Okay. It can go up and down. Okay. It can go up and down. It is very light. All right. And you can see that small filter like, equipment. It contains food. Now, what is the system of this box? The system of this box is that if the rat pushes that lever down, pulls it down, food will come in that tray and the rat can eat that food. What is food? Food is primary reinforcement. Remember, you can directly eat it. Everybody enjoys. The rat wants food. Now, first time when the rat was put into this box, the rat doesn't know anything about this, right? The rat doesn't know that this is a lever, there is a food, nothing. So, what did the rat do? What will any animal do if it is put in a box? No animal likes to be in a small box, right? So you pick up any animal and put it in a box, it will start running around because it wants to walk out. It will start running around. So this rat also started running around. Okay. While running around, accidentally, absolutely accidentally, it pushed that lever down. As soon as the lever was pushed down, little bit of food came down and the rat is very happy and the rat eats the food. Okay. Food is eaten. But now again the rat doesn't want to be in that cage. So again the rat starts running around. Okay. Again, after a lot of running around, accidentally the lever pushes, food comes, rat eats. Okay. Now when this happens many times, slowly the rat, you can see the behavior of the rat changing. Earlier the rat was running in the entire box. But after many trials, the rat is concentrating only in the area where there is that lever. Okay, so the rat completely ignores the other part of the box and rat keeps running around where there is that lever. Finally, after many trials, the rat learns. Learning has taken place. The rat learns that, oh, this is what is happening. I have to press the lever and the food comes. I don't have to work hard. I don't have to run around. If I want food, simple. I just have to press the lever, food will come. Okay. Rat learned to operate the environment. He learned to make use of his environment to get what he wants. That is why operant conditioning. The rat learned to operate this system. Instrumental, this behavior, this learning was instrumental. Okay, the reward that the rat is getting becomes instrumental in learning that behavior. Okay, and that is why we use these two words. Now, if you remember right in the starting of the session, we had seen that diagram of a cat which was kept in that cage and that cage was open from all sides. Okay. Now, what happened was they put a cat or any animal for that matter, rat, cat, in a closed cage. Okay, it was a closed cage. If the animal pushed the lever, the cage window opened, kind of window opened and there were bars. So the cat could look out. Okay. If the lever is pushed down, the cat can look out or the cat can even walk out. Okay, the door opens and the animal can walk out. So Skinner picks up the cat and puts the cat again in the box. Okay, again it goes inside. It learns to press the lever, door opens, it comes out, or the window opens and it can put its head out. Now remember, in this whole operation, there is no food. The cat is not getting any food, and yet the cat learns to press the lever. Why? Now there is no reward coming, there is no food. Then how did the learning take place? There is reward. Freedom is a reward. That is also primary reinforcer. Who likes to remain in a closed up cage? Who likes to remain in a closed up place? Everybody enjoys freedom. Everybody wants fresh air. So even though there was no food, there was another type of reward. There was another type of primary reinforcement, freedom, open air. And that is why the cat learned to press a lever. So the window opens, the door opens, and it can get its own freedom. Okay. These are all examples of how reward increases behavior. Now let's look at the next photograph, the series of 3 photographs in a rat, of the rat again. Okay. Punishment. This is an example of punishment. Now look at this cage. This cage is slightly different. So there is a cage, once again there is that lever, okay, and the flooring. The flooring had grid, okay, it had grid. What is a grid? Grid had wires, okay. It is made up of wires and very mild electric current is going to be passed. Very mild, okay. It's not going to hurt the rat too much and it's definitely not going to kill. But even if it is mild, it produces a little pain, right? Little electric shock will produce little pain, okay. So what is the system? If the rat presses that lever, this flooring will get electric current. See, look at the second diagram, the second photograph. You can see that electricity coming through. Okay. Now, obviously, electricity comes through. Rat is feeling the pain. Who likes pain? Who likes shock? And therefore, in the third one, see what the rat is doing. Nothing. It is sitting quietly without pressing the lever. What happened? Over here, by giving punishment, you are teaching not to perform certain behavior, or you are stopping a behavior. In the earlier diagram, because there was reward, the rat kept on pressing the lever. But over here, because there was punishment, rat learned, oh, I must not touch that lever. Okay, it gives me pain. So the rat learns to avoid punishment, pain, or escape pain. That is why we call this kind of learning as avoidant learning or escape learning. Okay. If you are traveling without ticket and you're used to traveling without ticket in the train, okay, if you are a regular habitual offender, if you have never bought ticket, okay, then you are going to be very particular about on which platform and on which gate do I always have a TC. So suppose on railway station A, on gate number 1, you know that there is always a ticket checker over there. Because you don't have a ticket, what will you do? You will avoid that gate number A. Okay. You are learning to avoid punishment. That's what drivers do on the traffic signal. On many of the roads, if you're a regular driver, you know there is no CCTV over here and there is never a traffic policeman standing over here. So over there, they will break the signal. But if there is a policeman standing and if there is a CCTV, they will follow the rules. Okay. You learn to escape punishment. You learn to avoid punishment. Again, learning is taking place. Okay. So punishment teaches you to reduce behavior. Reward teaches you to increase behavior. Let me please take a break. Yeah, so answering the query of Dr. Urvi Jangam, I would like to know more about the experiment, superstitious experiments on pigeons. Okay, yeah, they did speak a lot on pigeons, but superstition experiment is slightly more complicated, is more than basics. Okay, what we are doing just now in our sessions are, we are talking about basic concepts. This is a slightly more advanced concept. Okay, we will probably take it up in the later on sessions when we, as we move with more and more complex concepts. But right now, we will not be talking about very complicated concepts. We can't talk about everything together in one session, otherwise it will become too heavy. Okay, but yes, Urvi, we will be considering this in the future sessions. Okay. Now we are moving towards stimulus generalization. Once again, those who attended my last week's session on classical conditioning, we had spoken about stimulus generalization. Once again over here in operant conditioning 2, we have stimulus generalization. What is generalization? Where all your responses are same. Okay, where you're learning that there is no difference between A and B. Okay. When you don't know the difference between one stimulus and other stimulus, or one behavior and other behavior. Let's see what is happening over here. Forget what is written. Concentrate on your box just now. Okay. So look at that box again. Once again, you have a rat inside. Now, if you carefully notice, there are two different colored lights. Okay. There is a red color, orangish color light, and there is a blue color light. Okay. Now, and there is a lever also. Okay. Now, the system over here is whether the rat pushes the red light or whether the rat pushes the blue light. Any light, the food will come out. Okay, irrespective of which light is pushed. Wherever the light is pushed, the lever will automatically come down and the food will come. So what happened for the first time? The rat was running around in the cage and accidentally pushed the red light. Food came. Second time, it got attracted by blue light. It pushed the blue light, lever went down, food came. Okay. Now, whether you're pushing the red light or a blue light, the food is still coming. So what is the rat learning? The rat learns that it makes no difference. There is no difference between this color light and that color light. All the lights are same, or all the lights are common, or all the lights are general. General, similar, common, meaning the same thing. So stimulus generalization teaches you that all behaviors lead to similar consequences, whether I do this or whether I do that. Suppose parents don't care what kind of marks child gets, okay? Whether the child gets 85 or whether the child gets 45, it makes no difference to parents, okay? Parents are neither praising the child nor criticizing the child, nothing. What is the child learning? Whether I get more marks or whether I get less marks, it makes no difference. Whether I work more hard or whether I work less hard, it makes no difference. All my behaviors are still giving me the same response, okay? That's stimulus generalization. Since all types of behaviors have similar consequences, new behavior is not learned, okay? Now tell me in this example, why will a child want to work hard and get 85? Because whether the child gets 45 or 85, it makes no difference to anybody. There is no reward, there is no punishment, no consequence. Why will you learn a new behavior? Suppose I'm working in an office, okay? I learned a new program on a computer. And because of that new program, new software that I learned, it has helped my office a lot. It has helped my company a lot. And they are going to make a lot of profit. But I get nothing out of it. Nobody gave me compliment. Nobody gave me a certificate of merit. Nobody praised me. Nobody even took my name. I did not get any bonus. I did not get any increment. Nothing. I got nothing. What am I learning? I'm learning that it makes no difference what I do. Next time, I'm not going to learn any new behavior. I'm not going to contribute anything new. Okay? That's stimulus generalization. Now comes the pigeon. Stimulus discrimination. Similar case. So you have a case. This is a much simpler diagram. Okay. Once again over here, if you can see, there are two levers. There is a greenish color lever and there is a reddish color lever. See carefully in the diagram and you will see those tiny dots. Okay. Now here the system is, if the pigeon presses the green color button, it gets food. But if it presses the red color button, it gets no food. Okay. Now what happens when you put the pigeon for the first time in the cage? It doesn't know anything. So it is going to press both. And many times it is going to press both. But slowly it will learn that only green color button gives me food. Red color button gives me nothing. What has the pigeon learned? The pigeon has learned the difference between green color and red color. Okay? You are teaching difference between two activities. Stimulus discrimination. You are learning to discriminate A from B. Discrimination, difference. Okay? So learning to differentiate between two stimuli because the consequences are different. When I do one A action, I get different response. When I do B action, I get different response. When I study very hard, I get 85. When I don't touch my books at all, I get 45. When I get 85, I feel very proud of myself. And all my friends look up to me and respect me. Wow, you're a scholar. But when I get 45, I feel ashamed of myself. And everybody looks at me, oh, she's just ordinary. The reactions are different. And so I learned the difference between working hard and not working hard. Okay? So when the reactions are different, you learn the difference between two different behaviors. Once again over here, behavior which is rewarded will be repeated and behavior which is not rewarded will not be repeated. So now in this case, the pigeon will keep on pressing green color light because it is getting food. And it will ignore the red color light because there is no food. If I work hard and I get good percentage, I will keep on working hard for all my exams. And I will never be lazy. Okay? So this is stimulus discrimination. Now coming to something called as shaping of behavior. What is shaping of behavior? Teaching complex skills by rewarding small behaviors progressively. Okay. So I want to teach somebody to play a guitar. Okay. Now any musical instrument is not easy to learn. You won't learn it in one day. You will not even learn it in 1 month. Okay. There are so many strings. There are so many variations. There are so many techniques. There are so many finger movements. Okay. There is so much to learn. So what do? First, you only teach a person how to hold the instrument correctly. There is a correct method of holding a guitar, right? So which hand will come where? First, you only teach how to hold it correctly. That itself will take a few days. Once the person learns how to hold the guitar correctly, you reward. Okay, it can be bonus points, it can be some favorite food, you can take that person for a treat. Okay, you can just tap the back, whatever. Okay, after that you teach different finger movements. Okay, smaller finger will come where, index finger will come where, and so on. So slowly you start teaching finger movements. That itself will take long, and start rewarding. Every time you do a correct finger movement, you get a reward. Then you teach which finger has to come on which string. There are so many strings. Which string will produce which sound. So correct pressing of the string, correct string, you get a reward. Till you finally learn all your musical notes. This will take many, many months, maybe a year or two. Okay? But what did you do? Every time a small behavior was learned, you rewarded. And that reward becomes an encouragement to do little better. So I've done this much, I get reward, I'm very happy, I'm encouraged and motivated. Now I go to step number 2. I master that, again I get a reward, I'm very happy, I'm motivated, encouraged, I go to step number 3. And that is how something which is very, very difficult, step by step, you learn. Because at every step, you're giving a reward. Look at the diagram down there. At every step, there is a reinforcement till you reach your target. That, what are we doing? We are shaping a behavior. From small behaviors, we are combining it together. It becomes a complete behavior. That is why in some textbooks, you will see the word chaining. Okay? Shaping of behavior or chaining of behavior. You know, have you seen a chain? It's one attached to another. All cubes attached to another till you get an entire chain. So one behavior is learned, leading to second behavior learned, and that's how the entire behavior is learned. So reinforcement is given at every small step till you reach a final goal. We use a lot of this shaping of behavior method in therapy. When clients come to us for depression or, something like weight loss. I want to lose 5 kilos. You are not going to lose 5 kilos in one day, not even in 1 month. It will take many, many months. So how do you sustain your motivation? You start rewarding for every half a kilo. Okay, every time you lose half a kilo, every time you exercise well, every time you eat sensibly, you give yourself a reward. So in 1 month, I lost half a kilo. Okay, so now I get a reward of my choice. Next month, again I lose half a kilo. Again I get a reward of my choice. And every time you lose half a kilo, you keep getting some reward. You keep rewarding yourself till you lose 5 kilos, which was your target. Okay. So for therapy, for sports, training animals, we use this. Okay. Teaching animals to go there and pick up the ball and come back and give it to me. Okay. So shaping of behavior has extensive use in various ways. Now comes something that Skinner is most famous for, schedules of reinforcement. Now, when we spoke about reinforcement can be continuous or partial. Reinforcement in very, very simple words means reward. Okay. Now, reward can be continuous or reward can be partial. Now, what do you mean by that? Now, suppose I have a child going to school and I'm teaching ABCD and 1, 2, 3, 4 and all that to my child. Okay. Squares and triangles and colors and fruits and vegetables. Now, every day I'm teaching something new to my child. Okay. And every day the child is doing something well, learning something good. Today the child learned ABCD, tomorrow the child is learning 1, 2, 3, 4, next day the child is learning triangles and squares. Okay. Now because the child is learning something new every day, and suppose every day I say, oh, very good, I'll give you an ice cream today. Tomorrow I'll give you a chocolate. Day after tomorrow I'll give you something else. Okay. Every day if I keep rewarding the child, is it right? No, it's not right. Why it is not right? Because now the child gets used to being rewarded. What will happen on the day when I give no reward to the child? Also, can I afford to give rewards every day? Okay, today I did something wonderful in my office. My boss gives me a raise. Tomorrow I complete a very important project. Again, I get a raise. Third day, I give a lovely presentation. I get a raise. Will any job give you this kind of continuous raise and increment? No, never. Because one, it will spoil a person. You get so used to that constant reward that the day the reward doesn't come, you stop working. You didn't give me the raise yesterday, today I will not work. Okay, it is not effective. Constantly giving rewards, constantly giving praise, constantly giving bonus, never effective. What is effective is partial reinforcement. Sometimes you will get a bonus, sometimes you will get extra discount, sometimes you will get coupons, sometimes you will get praise, sometimes you will get an ice cream or a chocolate. Only sometimes, partially. Not every day and not always. Partial reinforcement. Now, if you are going to get a reward only sometimes, then how do we decide when and how? That is where comes your schedules of reinforcement. What is a schedule? Timetable. Hai na? You have a timetable. If you're a student, you have a timetable. Monday morning at 9 o'clock, I have this lecture. And Tuesday morning, 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I have that lecture. It's a schedule. It's a timetable. Okay. So schedule of reinforcement is it's sort of a timetable which will help you to decide when to give a reward and when not to give a reward. Okay. This was introduced by Skinner, and there are 4 schedules of reinforcement: fixed ratio schedule, fixed interval schedule, variable ratio schedule, variable interval schedule. Okay. Now, if you look at the screen in front of you, certain words are marked in blue. That is because that will help you to associate those words, and from exam point of view, it will help you to remember. It's a ready reckoner. It will help you to remember quickly, better. Okay, it's like a short form. Okay, and that is why I've given a separate color to the fonts so that it becomes easy for you to remember. Now let's start with the first one. Fixed ratio schedule. Look at the word fixed ratio. Ratio means number of responses. Okay, how many times your behavior has occurred. In fixed ratio schedule, you decide that after a fixed number of responses, I will give a reward. So if my child gets first class in all the class tests, okay, it's a fixed behavior that I've decided, fixed number of responses. All the papers, all the class tests, you must get first class. Okay, then I will reward. I'm not going to reward you for every single subject or every single paper. All class tests, all marks first class, that is the number of response, you will get reward. Suppose you're working in a factory. Suppose you are in a packing department. Okay, for every 100 boxes that you have packed, you get 1 discount coupon which you can use in the office canteen. So every time you pack 100 boxes, you get 1 discount coupon. Fixed ratio schedule is what your malls use. Every time, madam, every time you shop for 5,000, you will get this much discount. Hai na? So they are encouraging you to complete that number of responses. Now coming back to my factory example, if my factory says that for 100 boxes which I pack, I get a reward. Now today, since morning, I have already packed 100 boxes. I've already got one discount coupon. But I still have a lot of time left before I go home. So I start packing second lot. And 5 o'clock I'm supposed to go home. By 4:30 I have completed 80 boxes. Okay. 20 more boxes to pack, but only half an hour left. I don't think I'll complete 20 boxes in half an hour. But if I complete, I will get one more discount coupon. What will I do? That reward is going to encourage me to work faster and harder. Let me work little extra faster. I will sit for 10 more minutes extra today, but I'll complete that 20 boxes also, so that I will get one more discount coupon. Okay. When you know that you are going to be rewarded for a fixed number of actions or responses, you work to get that reward. Okay. Sometimes you are not rewarded for number of responses, you are rewarded for time. Okay. After how long will you get your response? Fixed interval schedule. You are talking about amount of time. So suppose you say, I will reward my child once a week every Monday. Every Monday, my child gets a reward. Okay. In company, you will get your bonus every 15th of every month if you're doing good work. Okay. Your boss comes on a round every day at 10 o'clock in the morning and then 4 o'clock in the evening. Okay. Fixed interval, fixed time. Now what is going to happen? I know when my reward is going to come. So I will work hard only during that particular time. If my child is getting a reward every Monday, then my child starts showing good behavior from Sunday onwards, knowing fully well that Sunday, Monday I have to behave well because Monday I get my reward. But rest of the week, the child might become a little lazy. If my boss comes on a round every day, only at 10 o'clock and only at 4 o'clock, then I will work hard only around 10 o'clock and only around 4 o'clock. But in between, I'll laze around. I know my boss is not coming, nobody is going to see. Suppose I have to catch a bus every day to go to college and my bus only comes 1 hour at a time. Okay, so once in every hour. So if I miss my 10 o'clock bus, it will now come at 11. If I miss my 11, it will now come at 12. So only one bus in 1 hour. Now what will happen? I will try to be on the bus stop before 10 because my bus comes at 10. Suppose I'm late and I've missed that bus. Will I wait for 1 hour? No, because now I know that second bus will come only at 11. So now I will not waste that 1 hour. I will take some other mode of transport. I'll go by auto, I'll share, I'll call an Uber, I'll use some other mode of transport. So that's fixed interval schedule, getting reward at fixed amount of time. Third is variable ratio schedule. Variable ratio schedule is, variable word is opposite of fixed. Fixed is, after 5 response, I will give you a reward. Okay. Variable, nothing is fixed. I will give you a reward anytime, average number of time. So sometimes I will reward you after you get first class in 2 papers. Sometimes I will reward you after you get first class in 6 papers. Sometimes I will reward you after you get first class in all the 10 papers. Okay. So there is nothing fixed. I will reward you after any number of responses. Remember I gave you that packing example? In fixed ratio, after every 100 box that I pack, I get a reward. But in variable ratio, nothing is fixed. So sometimes I get a reward after packing 10 boxes. Sometimes I get a reward after packing 55 boxes. No guarantee. Now what will happen? I don't know when the reward is coming. So I will keep on packing boxes whole day. Who knows when the reward comes? Okay. I keep on packing boxes from morning till evening, because at any amount, at any particular box, I might get a reward. People who buy lottery tickets, every lottery ticket does not give you a reward, but you still keep on buying, na? Variable ratio schedule. I don't know which lottery ticket will make me a lakpati, right? Gambling is based on variable ratio schedule. Why do people spend so much money on all those casino machines? You just keep trying. Let me take one more chance, one more chance, one more chance. Variable ratio. Which response will give me a reward? I don't know. Okay. And the last one, variable interval schedule. Interval time. Variable, not fixed. My boss, fixed interval, my boss comes only at 10 o'clock and at 4 o'clock. So I work hard at 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Rest of the time I am lazing around. But in variable interval, my boss comes anytime. Sometimes he comes once a day. Sometimes he comes 3 times in a day. Sometimes he doesn't come at all. Nothing is fixed. It's variable, changes, variety. Now, everybody is constantly going to work hard. Okay. If you have your exams fixed in the first week of every month, you will only work hard, study hard during that period because it is fixed interval. Only in the first week we have our exams. But suppose your school follows a method of variable interval. Surprise exams. Anytime exams are conducted, sometimes in the first week, sometimes in the third week, sometimes no exams at all. Now you are going to be prepared for the rest of the year. You are constantly going to work hard and study. When your bus comes only at 10 o'clock and 11 and 12, you know when your bus comes. But suppose your bus comes sometimes once an hour, sometimes you have 3 buses coming one after another, sometimes only 2 buses in 1 hour, nothing is fixed. Now what will happen if you miss your 10 o'clock bus? You will wait. You don't know when the next bus will come. You have no idea. So now you will wait patiently because you're just expecting the bus to come any minute. Okay. So when you give rewards, reinforcement partially, sometimes you give but sometimes you don't give, that encourages a person to behave in a certain way. Okay. To help you to understand better, once again, I am giving you this. Again, you can take a screenshot and keep it for yourself as a ready reckoner to revise for the last minute. Okay. Or this video will remain on the YouTube, so you can keep coming back to it and seeing it. The entire table is given to you in great detail. You have partial reinforcement, you have continuous reinforcement, and all the explanations are given. Everything that I've spoken about, it is over here color coded in different colors, so you will understand it better. Okay, this is for your particularly from exam point of view. Now, all this while we have been talking about reinforcement and rewards, but we have not spoken about punishment. Everybody knows that if I punish you, you will stop doing that particular behavior. But is punishment always effective? No. Punishment will only be effective under certain conditions. And what are those conditions? The ones that you see on your screen. First one, punishment must always be immediate. I do something wrong just now, immediately I must be punished. Now, by immediate, I don't mean immediately 5 minutes, but the period of time between your act and the punishment should be minimum. Okay. Suppose somebody steals. Very quickly, the police should take action, capture that person, put him in jail or her in jail. Very quickly, the case should be heard and a verdict must come out. Within a few days, within a few months, the verdict must come out. If punishment comes in a very short time, only then it is effective. The child does something wrong in the morning and mummy says, wait for the daddy to come in the evening, I will tell him what you did. So daddy comes in the evening, then mummy tells daddy, then daddy scolds the child, punishes the child. But it's a small child. By that time, the child has already forgotten what it did in the morning. Okay. A small baby will not remember. So poor child does not even know why I am being scolded. But instead of waiting till evening, if the child had received that same scolding or punishment immediately, the child would have learned the connection. This behavior will give me this punishment. So it should be immediate. It should be consistent. Today I'm in a very bad mood, so I will punish you. But tomorrow I'm in a good mood, I will not punish you. Okay? Today the teacher is in very good mood, so you come late for the class, the teacher takes you inside. Tomorrow the same teacher is in a very bad mood, you come late in the class, doesn't take you inside. How is this punishment effective? Nothing. You are not learning anything from this. But suppose the teacher refuses to take you in the class if you're late. Okay. First day you are late, you were not allowed in the class. Second day you were late, not allowed. Third day you were late, not allowed. Every day you are late, you are not allowed. Fourth day, you will start coming on time. Today you travel without ticket, you are caught, you have to pay a fine of 500. Again tomorrow you travel without ticket, you are caught, you pay a fine of 500. On the third day, you will buy the ticket because you realize that instead of paying 500 fine, I better buy ticket. That turns out to be more cheaper. So when punishment is constantly and consistently given, it is effective. Punishment must always depend on the type of crime committed. If a child has just misbehaved, okay, nothing very serious, just simple misbehavior, did not listen to the request given by the parents, then give a simple punishment. Scold and criticize the child and finish it off. But if the child has made a very, very serious mistake, like for example, the child has changed marks in the report card. Now this is a serious crime. The punishment should also be equally serious. Okay. Somebody has stolen 200 rupees. Not right. But punish that person for 2 months, put that person in jail for 2 months. You don't hang a person for stealing 200. But somebody has murdered. Now you can't say, oh, we'll keep you in the jail for 6 months and then leave you. No, murder is a very severe crime. You require very severe punishment for it. So the kind of punishment must depend on the kind of crime. Okay. Never forget, punishment must always come with corrective behavior. Your child got very less marks in mathematics, you are punishing the child. Good. But then teach how to do maths. The child got less marks because the child is not able to understand mathematics. Sit with the child and teach how to do. Teach the formula, teach the correct method. Unless and until you teach the correct behavior, next time the child is going to repeat the same mistake. How many times are you going to punish? Okay. So it is nice to punish a person for doing something wrong. But you also have to teach a person the right behavior. A person is stealing money, catch that person, put in the jail. But also teach that person the correct ways of employment. So next time when he or she comes out, he or she works hard, earns money and doesn't have to steal. Okay. And very, very, very important. Just because you're punishing a person doesn't mean you stop loving that person. Never make that mistake. Never make that mistake. You don't stop love and care and support. That has to continue. My child got very less marks. I scold the child. I don't allow TV to the child. I don't give dessert to the child. But that doesn't mean I stop loving my child. That doesn't mean I stop giving support and care to my child. No, I will still love my child. If my child needs me, I'll be there. If my child is crying, I will go and hug my child. Love and support must never stop. If you stop love and support, the person starts hating you. Okay? We don't want hatred. We just want the behavior to change. Okay? So these are the conditions that make the punishment effective. And finally, we move towards the end. Operant conditioning in a nutshell. So everything that we have spoken about today is over here. We spoke about law of effect. We spoke in great detail about reinforcement and punishment, stimulus generalization and stimulus discrimination. We spoke about shaping of behavior. We spoke about schedules of reinforcement and criteria for effective punishment. This tiny diagram which over here I have shown you, it explains everything in simple ways. Okay. So this slide is like sort of a revision. When you're revising everything, this slide will help you so that you don't forget any particular topic. Okay. And with that, thank you very much, everybody, for attending my session. Today's session was slightly longer, but that's because there were so many concepts to cover. I hope this session has been helpful for you, and all the concepts which were earlier scary and confusing are now easy to understand. Okay. You can follow me on any of these social media platforms. And every week, once a week, mostly on Tuesdays, we try to have live YouTube sessions on various topics of psychology, mainly from the syllabus. We have already covered part 2 of learning, and the next week will be part 3 in the series of learning. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, then you can get your notification so that you don't miss out. All right. And besides this, there are various videos which are regularly being posted on various aspects of mental health. So you can find all of them if you're interested on any of these platforms. With that, thank you very much once again and have a happy day. See you soon.